Immediately following Himmler's visit, Action 1005, the plan to obfuscate any traces of mass murder across occupied Eastern Europe, was initiated in Treblinka. Action 1005 originated as early as June 1942, in which SS Gruppenführer Heinrich Müller, or Gestapo Müller, as he is more commonly referred to, formally appointed SS Standartenführer Blobel as overseer of the operation. Following Himmler's visit, SS Sturmbannführer Christian Wirth, overseer of Operation Reinhard, returned to the camp to aid Stangl during this transitionary period. During Wirth's visit, he referred to Blobel's advice, which was recalled in a statement by Franz Stangl, taken when he was in Dinslaken prison. During the transition to the new system, Wirth came to Treblinka. As I recall, Wirth spoke of a Standartenführer, who we can infer was Paul Blobel, who had experience burning corpses. Wirth told me that according to the Standartenführer's experience, corpses would be burned on a roaster, and it would work marvellously. By this point in time, Blobel had already successfully implemented Action 1005 in Auschwitz, Belzec, Chelmno, Majdanek, Malý Trostenec, and Sobibór. In fact, Treblinka was temporally the penultimate extermination camp to undergo Action 1005, which is remarkable, given that it was, at this point in early 1943, Nazi Germany's most prolific extermination camp. So this begs the question of why Action 1005 wasn't implemented at Treblinka sooner, given the enormous number of victims that accumulated in the upper camp, especially when compared with Sobibór or Malý Trostenec, for instance. In fact, the only extermination camp that had Action 1005 implemented after Treblinka was Semlin, which commenced exhumation and cremation in December 1943, but had a far lower fatality rate than Treblinka, at only approximately 7,000 Jews and anywhere from 25,000 to roughly 40,000 other inmates. Given the urgency of Treblinka's situation, Blobel ordered the relocation of Herbert Floss, he was working at Sobibor at the time, to be taken to Treblinka to help Stangl as the cremation expert. Heinrich Mattisch, overseer of Treblinka's extermination area, testified the following. At that time, Floss, whom I assume was previously in another extermination camp, arrived. He was in charge of the arrangements for cremating the corpses. It took place in such a way that the railway lines and concrete blocks were placed together. The corpses were then piled on these rails. Bushwood was then put under the rails. The wood would then be doused with petrol. Following Floss's arrival, separate working groups of men from both the upper and lower camps were established, whose task it was to exhume and cremate the bodies of the fallen. To aid these groups, another excavator was brought from the labour camp at Treblinka 1. Some accounts claim that as many as 3 might have been brought. Chiel Rajchmann was assigned to one of these new Action 1005 worker groups, called the Burning Squad, remarked upon the following. The SS expert, who we can assume was Herbert Floss, ordered us to put women, particularly fat women, on the first layer of the grill, face down. The second layer could consist of whatever, men, women, children, and so on, layer on top of layer. Then the expert ordered us to lay down dry branches under the grills and to light them. The work was extremely difficult. The stench was awful. The SS man operating the excavator often dumped the corpses directly onto the prisoners working nearby, wounding them seriously. Yankiel Wiernik then described the fire itself. It was genuine hell. From a distance, it looked like a volcanic eruption boiling up through the Earth's surface and spreading like flames and lava. Everything around was caught up in noise and turmoil. At night, the smoke, fire, and heat were unbearable. To accelerate the cremation of roughly 700,000 corpses, the SS in Treblinka subdivided the Jews tasked with the implementation of Action 1005. Other than the burning unit, whose job seems fairly self-explanatory, a stretcher unit was established, which would carry the corpses dumped by the excavator to the pits, and an ash team was also established, It would collect any ash remaining under the grills to ensure that they were disposed of properly, as a further means for concealing evidence. From early April 1943 until late July 1943, mere days before the Treblinka revolt, Action 1005 was successfully implemented in Treblinka, obfuscating the traces of all those that had been murdered, whether it be in the gas chambers, lazaret, or the campgrounds itself.